There we have full stack Angular and the TypeScript. Now when I'm open this, now you can see we are having what functions.ts. I created a function with the name student, but practically speaking, this is in JavaScript is a class, and I created couple of variables here, and I have created an array, and I'm writing, let's say, the for office I have written, and also for in difference also I have shown you, and I'm creating a tuple and then followed with the enumeration by having a simple if condition. But the same thing when it comes to the pure TypeScript, I have created a class, and the class is going to be student. And here I'm having what the student ID, student name is active. I created different variables here, and also I have written some function. This is one function and this is another function where I have written something like this. Now it's all about we will be understanding how object-oriented programming will work and how to create an object and what exactly the class is going to be. So that part we will be understanding it in today's session. So I can say simply object-oriented programming. Okay. So very important. If anybody is not able to understand, you please ask me one more time that I'll explain it to you. Don't worry and don't feel bad if I ask a question like Srikanth will notice. Nothing like that. We have around 500 plus members are here, and it doesn't possible for me to remember your names also. Any question it is, if it related to the technical, don't hesitate to ask me. Because don't learn any subject, not even the Angular where I am teaching. Any subject it is it is a Java or it is a .NET or it is a Python, understood. Any subject it might be learn with perfection. That is very important. That is where any doubts if you have, just please to ask me. I'll explain you one more time. But try to concentrate more on here. That is important. Okay? That is very important. Now what I just want to do is, and I'm going to show you an example. And before that, what exactly an object-oriented programming? Object-oriented programming is a concept. Okay? Object-oriented programming is a concept which is mainly used to reusable and provides the security for the code, I can say. So object-oriented programming is a concept which is mainly used to reusable the code and also provides the security for the code. Okay, provides the security for the code. That is the main aim of the object-oriented programming that we are having. Now tell me, do we have that object-oriented programming only for TypeScript? A quick question for you. Do we have the TypeScript? Do we have the object-oriented programming supported only for the TypeScript? No, obviously. Because object-oriented programming, as I told you, that is not related to a particular programming. It is an individual concept. It is an individual concept. That means object-oriented programming is available in Java. Object-oriented programming is available in C#, and it is available in C++, and it is available in Python, and it is available in some XYZ wherever. That means if a programming language called as an object-oriented programming, it should support four features. It should support four features that are very important for us. The first one is going to be encapsulation, and the second one is going to be abstraction, and the third one is going to be polymorphism, and the fourth one is going to be inheritance. Fourth one is the inheritance. So that means if any programming language is having these four features, then that is what we call it as a object-oriented programming. Java supports all these four features, so that is where we call it as object-oriented programming. C#.NET supports these features, that is where we call it as object-oriented. C++ supports, that is where object-oriented, but C is not supported with all these features. That is the reason only where people are not calling it as an object-oriented program. Understand? So that means any programming language you can take, if it is an object-oriented programming, it supports these features. These are very important to have. Now, tell me one thing, how we are going to perform these features and how we are going to make anything as an object-oriented programming. So to work with that, to work with object-oriented programming, we use classes and objects. Okay. We use classes and objects. Now, what is meant by a class? A class is a collection of data members and member functions, I can say. A class is a collection of data members and then member functions. Now, what is a data member? Data member will deals data. That means data members deals with the data, or else like in information, or else the values that we want to store. There we use what? The data member. Comma, member functions are used to execute the logics. That means whenever if you wanted to execute the logic, there at that time we go with the member function. Now, practically speaking, data member is something like variables, and member functions are nothing but functions, I can say in my case. That's it. Variables plus function. That means what a class will contain. When I say about the class is a collection of variables plus methods, I can say. That's it. Nothing apart from that. A class is a collection of variables and methods. Now, if you can take any class is not occupying any memory because it is a logical representation. It is a logical representation. Without having the memory, is it possible to store the data? Tell me. Without having the memory, is it possible to store the data? No, it is not at all possible. That means we must and should have some memory. In that memory only, we have to store the information, and that memory who will take the responsibility to create is object. That is the reason where object is an instance of the class. Instance is something like memory. Object is an instance of the class. It is an instance of the class. Now what we can do, it is a physical location where the values are going to be stored, where the values are stored, I can say. It is a physical location where you can store all of your values. That is what we call it as an object. That means with the help of a class and with the help of an object, with the help of a class and with the help of an object, we are going to perform all these object-oriented programming features. We are going to perform all these object-oriented programming features. Now, how do we create a class and how to create a function? And inside the class, we have what? Constructors also available. How to create those constructors, that examples we will understand it in today's session. Anyhow, I was explained in the last session, I guess on Saturday session, I have explained you in detail how difficult it is object oriented programming with the JavaScript and how easy it is when it comes to the TypeScript also. Again, I am repeating because it is very important for everyone to know the object-oriented programming with the help of TypeScript. Because day-to-day activity, you can see, I will show you a simple example. Maybe go to the D drive, and there we have right now the today's session. Maybe I'll open my Angular application. I'll open the project and then shopping. Maybe here you see we have like different example. That means I created different example, and today I had explained an example that is going to be the farm builder. Maybe I'll open this farm builder. You can see code space dot. If you open that, now you can see we have a TypeScript file. As I told you, TypeScript file which comes with an extension what? .ts. You can see what I have written here. You can observe that it is basically what? A class. A class is having what? A constructor. And after that I created the variable. And after that I created the properties. And after that you see I created the methods over here. Understand? I created different methods over here. So which means whenever if you want to build any kind of Angular application development, we always should know how to deal with the class and how to create an object and how to make use of the constructor and how we can write the function. That is very important for us. That is very important for us. So for that reason, again I am going to create a new class for us in our example. Maybe let's say I'll be taking a class, okay, or else let's say example class example cls example 2.ts I can see. Okay, now this is what I'm creating a new class file where it is going to be cls example 2.ts. Now here I am creating a class. So how to create the class? Simply we'll be using the class, and the class keyword is going to be, class name can be any name. That's up to you. I am creating my class, that is the address class. Okay, address is the class that what I have created. And here I am having variables. Variables, or some people may call it as properties also. Anything is fine. Now I am creating that. So how do I do that? But let's say address ID, which is of type, let's say an integer, a number that what I can give. And at the same time, I just wanted to give, let's say, state, which is of type. Make sure guys, whenever if you are going to create any property, it is follow the camel casing. Camel casing in the sense, you can see, suppose I am writing my name here, Shrikant with initial name, or else I will be using Naresh IT Technologies. Naresh IT Technologies. Now here, if you can observe that every letter, the first word is going to be the capital. Naresh is one word I am assuming, IT is another word, and after that we are having technologies, that is the third word. That means total we are having 3 words here. Every word first letter you can observe that I am creating it with the capital, and this is what we call it as Pascal casing. Pascal casing. Understand? Pascal casing. And second thing is going to be, I'll be writing something like Naresh, IT, technologies, that what I am writing here. And here you can observe that I am following what? Camel casing. Now what is the difference between Pascal casing and camel casing here? Pascal casing, every letter first word would be capital. And when I say about camel casing, first word is going to be small. Okay, first word is going to be the small word, and after that onwards, we have the capital. After that onwards, we have what? Capital letters. So at the time of creating the variable, yes, at the time of creating the variable, always it's a good programming practice to follow what? The camel casing. Okay, camel casing. Definitely that is very important, guys. We should have what? We should follow that casing. That casing is very important. Okay, that casing is very important. Shrikant, if I'm not following, like what will happen? Will it give any error? Means no. These are generally what we call it as coding standards and best practices. If it is an example where you are learning here in Ameerpet, that won't give you much change. But if you are working in the real time, if you are working in a proper project, even though you are getting an output, but if you are not following the best practices, then they won't tell us your code to be the part of the development. Understand? That means following the standards is very important. If you are not following the standard, even though you got that output, that is waste of your time. I'm working as a technical lead, and my around 50% of the job daily is reviewing the code. I'm reviewing like the C#.NET code, and I'm reviewing like the TypeScript code, PowerShell code. 50% of my work will be reviewing, code reviewing, whether they follow like the standards that are defined by my company, or even though they got that output and testing is also good, if they are not follow the proper standards, coding standard, then I don't want to allow the code to be published in my project. Every company, they are having their own standards, we must have to follow. But there are like couple of standards which are generic for every type of application development. So for them, like this is the one. So what I'm doing, I'm just creating a class. Now at the time of creating the class, you should follow Pascal casing. At the time of creating the variables, you follow what? Camel casing. Now I'm creating a class. Maybe the class name is going to be customer. You can create any class, it doesn't matter at all. You can create with any class that's your wish. Understand? Customer. Now here I'm going to have, let's say, customer ID, which is of type number. Now you can see customer name, which is of type string, I can say. And the third one is going to be, we have customer balance. Customer balance is available, which is also a number type that what I am taking. That's it. Understand? So this is how I'm having it. And at the same time, I'm going to write a function. So how do I write the function? Simply get the data, or else customer info is the function that what I have written. And here what I can do, and I'm going to enter the data. So how we can do that one? Customer ID is equal to, I am giving 101. Now here you can see that time when I am using customer ID, it is asked me, that means it throw me an error if I am directly using. Now what is that error we are getting here? You can observe that cannot find the name customer ID. Did you mean the instance member this dot customer ID. Now what does it mean? It means that in TypeScript, do remember, in TypeScript, to access the members of the class, to access the members of the class, we use a keyword, that is what we call it as this keyword, and it is a mandatory rule. That means syntax, it is a syntax. Whenever if you wanted to access the members of the class, then we must have to use this keyword. Now what is this keyword here? This is a keyword, which is an object of, which is an object of current class. That means which is an object of what? Current class. This is a keyword which is an object of current class, and we also call it as current class instance. What is the name? Current class instance. It is very, very, very important here. What is this? This is a keyword. It's a reserved keyword which is an object of the current class. That means here I have a class with the name customer. If I am using this keyword, now you can see this is belongs to what? Customer class. That is the current class. You can keep mouse on here. This is belongs to what? Customer class. Suppose I created another class. Maybe let's say student is the class. And if I am using this keyword here this is belongs to what? Student class. Understand? Suppose I created a class with the name an employee, and here I am using this keyword. Then here this is belongs to employee class. That means this is a current class instance. Understand? That means object of the current class. In TypeScript, using this keyword, whenever if you are calling the members of the class, is mandatory. That means we must have to follow. Okay, we must have to follow this keyword. We must have to follow this keyword. At the same time, now you can see I wanted to access the customer name. Now you see the time when I am calling the customer name, again this keyword will be appended. Now the customer name is going to be, I can say Shrikant. And after that, now you can see this dot. It will show you like all customer info. Is it belongs to the class or tell me? Yes or no? Customer info, I have written inside my customer class. See that. After that, customer balance, I have written inside it. Customer ID, I have written inside the class. Customer name, I have written inside the class. That is how. Now what I am doing, customer balance is equal to, maybe I can say 12,000. That's it. Okay. And at the same time, I am writing another function, that is display function. Now here, there is one thing I just wanted to give a clarity. Generally, I hope you know what is the purpose of a variable, right? As I told you very clearly, variable, it is used to store the data. Okay, store the data. And when I say about the function, it is used to execute the logic. I hope everybody knows about this, right? Variables are used to store the data, and functions are used for what purpose? Used to execute the logic. Now the question here is, what is the difference between, what is the difference between a function and a method? My question is here, what is the difference between function and method? Is that both are same or different? If it is same, how to write? If it is different, how do we write? Both are same. Tell me. few people are same and few people are different. That's okay. Right. Now I'll write here a slight difference. Okay, a slight difference. Function and method both are same by syntax. Understand? Maybe you can write like the function and method both are same by default in the syntax. That means if it is a type script, if you wanted to create either the function or if it is a method, syntactically both are same. We don't have any difference at all. How to create it? Maybe you can use an access modifier that is public, and here you can write the function name, okay, followed with parameters, and then give a colon, and here you have to give the data type, and generally this is what we call it as a return type. And here you need to write the logic. Understand? You're supposed to write the logic. This is the syntax. What is the syntax? See here, access modifier. I'm writing here that access modifier is going to be public, but in your case, if you wanted to give a different access modifier, that's up to you. Okay, that's up to you. And after that, the name of the function, what would be the name we wanted to give, you can give it over there. And you can have the parameters. What are all the parameters you wanted to have? You can have. And these parameters are optional parameters. You don't need to write until unless you don't have a requirement. If you really have a requirement, then you can. Otherwise, it is not required. And then following with the return type, and you can write the logic. This is a syntax. Then what is the difference between them? Practically, function is having data type as the return type. Data type as the return type, and also return type, and also it must return a value based on the return type. Based on the return type, it must have to return a value. This is the practical difference. Understood? Practically, function is having data type as the return type, and also it must return a value to the calling place. Now here, next thing is going to be practically method is having void as the return type. Void as the return type, and also it should not return anything to the calling place. That means wherever you people are calling that particular function or method, to that particular place, if you want to return some value, there you can use the function. Otherwise, you can go with the method. Now, function you can take is having data type as the return type. Function you can take data type as the return type. But method you can take, we have the return type, something like what? Void. Now you can see here in my example, when I keep my mouse on the customer info, now you can see customer info. Now what it is it a method or function? Tell me. Hello? Is it a method or function? Tell me, guys. It's a method. Very good. Why it is going to be a method? Because it is having what? Void as the return type. Now see here, I'm going to write a simple thing, that is return welcome. If I'm using, just I'm writing here return. Now you see, the time when I'm using a written statement, the data type of display method is going to be what? What is the data type of this method now? String. Now tell me, is this is a function or a method? Function or a method? Tell me. Function or a method? It's a function. Very good. Now here, this is what we call it as a method. Understood? This is a method. So methods you can create with the help of void. Methods you can create with the help of what? Void keyword. But here I am writing display as the function. So that is the reason where I am using string here. This is what we call it as a function. Syntax is same. Both the places syntax is same as it is same syntax. But the only difference is going to be what? Method will contain void as the return type. Function will contain string as the return type. I mean, not only the string, any valid data type. Either it is a string, then you return the string value. If it is a number, you can return the number value. If it is a enumeration, you can return that enumerated value. If it is a class, you return that object. If it is an array, you return that array value. Like that it is. That means whatever the data type we specified here, we must have to return the same value. Writing data type is always optional, Uday. Here also, if I am not writing data type, will it be a problem? Tell me. Obviously no. Even though if I am not writing here, you see, it is becomes to any type. Understand? It is becomes to any type. But anyhow, why should I go with that? TypeScript only we are using for the data type purpose. If I am not defining the data type, then what is the need of the TypeScript for me? Am I right? So that is the reason always having the data type at the time of declaring is a good practice. That's it. Nothing apart from that. Okay. Nothing apart from that. Always having the data type is a good practice. That is where I'm doing. And couple of people they are asking like few questions here, guys. You please go through the previous session videos where Pavan is going to give you. Pavan is our admin. He will take care of any kind of non-technical things. Most of the people they are asking like different questions. The last session videos that you will be getting it from the Pavan. You please have a look into that and do let me know if you have any doubts in the next session. Okay. You will be getting the videos, video recording. Maybe just you can go through that and you can practice. You can have a look into it. Okay. That's very cool. Very good. So now here this is a string. Now what I want to do here, instead of returning this particular value, okay, instead of returning this particular value, what I just want to do is I'm going to create a simple variable here. So let's say I'm creating let message which is of type string is equal to, as I told you, string can be defined in three ways. Am I right? String can be defined in three ways. The first one is going to be what? First one is going to be either you can use the double quotation. Now I am writing the double quotation here and I'm going to print that information. So how we can do that? Simply, let's say customer ID plus I can give customer ID. Right? Now as I told you, whenever if you wanted to access any member which is available there, you must have to give this keyword. At the same time, I am giving a plus and give a comma customer name I can give, and here also again I will be giving the plus and this dot customer name I can say, and then I am giving what, and the third one is going to be customer balance is going to be, let's give the plus, this dot customer balance I can say. So this is how it is going to be. This is a string, and finally I am going to return that particular message. That means what I am doing here, I created a variable with the name message. I created a variable with the name message, and I am storing into their customer ID, and then following with the name of the customer. It's just a variable, message variable. I created a local variable, and to that local variable, whatever that ID, whatever the name, whatever the balance we are having, I'm printing all that information. Understood? Tell me. Clear? Is this so far what I have done? Is it clear or not? Tell me. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Please tell me. Very good. Nice. Very good. Now you see, directly you cannot execute. Directly you cannot execute the TypeScript. So end of the day, it has to be generated the JavaScript. So that what I can do, I'm going to write something like TST space, TypeScript compiler space. What is the name? CLS example 2.ts I can say. So that automatically a JavaScript file will be created. Now, if you can open the JavaScript file, what here it is created a class, it is created a function, and inside the function we have the data, and there is another function that we are having. Finally, it is returning that particular data that we are having. You can leave about it. We don't need to worry about like this data. Now I am just writing something like this. Now, after that, if I am executing the JavaScript file, how do we do that? Node, I am using Node.js to execute JavaScript file, so that CLS example 2.js if I will be using, do we have any output here? Tell me. Do we have any output here? Tell me, guys. Why do we don't have any output here? Because as I told you, class is a logical representation of data. We don't have any physical existence for the class. We don't have any physical existence for the class. So for that reason, we will be creating an object of the class. If there is no object, there is no class. So both are interrelated. If you created a class, then you must and should have an object. Because object means it's a memory. Without having the memory, how you are going to store that information? That is the reason, if you people having a class means, it should be mandatory to have the memory, and that memory we created with the help of class, I can say. We created with the help of what? Class I can give. Understood? Now what I want to do, I'm going to create an object now. So how to create an object? Let's say, let customer. Now here I'm trying to create an object. Now you can see, let customer. Customer is of what type? I created an object. The object name is going to be CUST. Is of what type? Customer type. So that what I can do, I'm using customer. I'm using what? Customer here. I'm using what? Customer here. That's it. Let customer is of type customer is equal to new customer, that what I am using. And this is what we call it as object. Understood? So what I am doing, again I am repeating. See there, I have a class with the name customer. I have a class with the name what? Customer. And this customer class is having three property: customer ID, customer name, and customer balance. And also I created a method and from that method I'm assigning some data. From that method I'm assigning some data here. After that, what I have done, I created a function, and by using that function I'm writing some logic to display the data. I'm writing some logic to display the data. That is what I'm doing. That is my class information. Now I created an object. Object creation is something like what? Internally what? I created a memory to store the data. Understand? Now I created an object here. Now by using that object, I'm going to access the members. So how I can? You can see the customer dot. I'll call a method that is customer info, and at the same time customer dot we have a method that is the display method. Now you can see there customer info is of what type? Void, but display you can see it is of type string. That means this is generally what we call it as calling place. Okay, calling place. Now why we call it as calling place? Here if you can see I declared the methods and functions, and I am going to call them from here with the help of an object, right? With the help of an object, I am calling them. With the help of an object, I am calling them. Now here, this is what a calling place. Now what I am doing, you know, what is the difference I told you with respect to the method and function? Method is having void as the return type, and it is not written anything to the calling place. Method is having void as the return type, and it is not written anything to the calling place. But function is having a return type as the data type, and it should return some value to the calling place. Now what it is returning? It is returning a message to me. Understand? And the message is of what type it is returning? Tell me. What type it is going to be? What type it is? String type. So that what I can do, I created a string variable. I created a string variable. Let message is equal to. That means I'm going to get an object. I'm going to get the value where this function is returning. It return a string value, so that I created a string variable. If it return a number, I can return a number. If it is going to be something like boolean, I can return a boolean. Like that it is. Okay. Now that I'm going to print. So how do I do that one? I'm going to use console.log. I'm using message. Yes, object should be created outside the class. Okay, object should be created outside the class. The syntax to create an object, okay. The syntax to create an object is what? Object name colon class name is equal to new class name. Generally, this is what we call it as constructor. Understood? No, we don't have any main method here. Because TypeScript and JavaScript, these are used for web application development. Do you have main method for the web development? Tell me. Obviously no. Most of the web developments, we don't have the main method. Most of the web application technologies are not comes with the main method because those are executed by the browser. That is the reason. Okay. Now what I'm doing? Again, I'm writing one more function, guys. Now you can see. Let's say I'm writing one more function. See here, just to get clarity. Get total value. Okay. Get total value is the one. And here it should be written a value that is the number. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to take the input from the user with the help of the parameter. So how do I create the parameter? First one, maybe let's say product cost I can say, which is of type number, and then quantity is of type number, that what I can do. That means total how many parameters I have created here? Total how many parameters I have created here? See that I created a function where my function is having two parameter. One is product cost, another one is quantity, and this is going to be written some number type value. So that what I can do, return whatever the product cost we are having into quantity, that what I can give. That's it. Now, when I'm doing a multiplication of product cost and quantity, it will return, the total will return what type of value? Finally, it is going to be a number only, right? Am I right? Tell me. It's going to be a number only. So that is where what I'm doing. I'm writing something like this. Now, how I am going to call that? You can see there. You can see there. I'm going to call that. How do I do that one? We have an object. The object name is going to be customer dot. We have get total value. If you open that, it is asked me to pass like two value. One is the product cost, another one is going to be the quantity. One is product cost, another one is quantity. Now the product cost, maybe I can give 12,000, and the quantity is going to be, let's say, 3 I can do. That's it. Understood? Product cost is 12,000 and the quantity is going to be 3, that what I have given. Now here, get total value, it will return what type of data? What type of data it is returning? Tell me.
Number.
Very good. It's returning a number type value. So that what I can do, let total is equal to, let total is equal to, that means here it is returning some value to the calling place, so that I am storing into a variable. So that I am storing into a variable, that what I am doing. That's it. It is returning a value, so that I am storing into the variable over there. Now after storing, okay, I'm going to write the type as going to be number. Even though if you are not writing the number here, if I keep my mouse on here, what type it is going to be? See this. What type here it is? Tell me. What type here it is? Number only, because this function is giving the data as of type number, so that automatically the variable will become as a number type. Explicitly if you wanted to give, yes, it's always good, I can say. And then I'm going to print this particular one, console.log. We have the total. Okay, now it's clear now. Tell me. Guys, object oriented programming is very, very, very important. You must and should. Very good. You must and, guys, the one thing I'm very much clear, that I don't have the Google Classroom link. It was not yet created. Most probably they will be created by today. Only if you people are done with, like, the requirement that what they said. Pavan is posted something that please fill the Google form with your detail, so that, like, he will be created a group and he will giving it to me. Definitely by tomorrow there will be a new link. They will do, like, all these basic steps, sanity steps by today, and I hope like they will create a link, Google Classroom link created by today, and then I can post everything. And for 5, the last demo videos, you can take, you can have it. I mean, including today, he will share all the demo videos. I'm sharing with you one more time the demo videos what he has shared. Okay, I have shared all the demo videos. You please go through that once. It won't take much time. It's hardly 1.5 hour session which was recorded, and it would be very easy for you to understand it. Okay, fifth demo, I mean today's demo link also will be, you people will get to your email IDs most probably after the session. Okay, just please be ready. That's it. First class is like, very basic concepts, right? Second class only we have the subject actually. That is, anyhow, you will be getting forward. Sure. Now you see, I have written a logic something like this, and now you can see, I'm going to clear my script where I can just write TSC space. First, I'm going to transpile the code. What is mean by transpilation? Transpilation is the process of converting. Transpilation is the process of converting. Tell me. Very good. TypeScript code into JavaScript code. How do we do the transpilation? By using TSC. TSC space file name. What is the file name we are having? The file name is going to be CLS example2.ts, I can say. When I'm giving that, now it written the related JavaScript code to me. It written the JavaScript code to me. If you want, you can just have a look into this. Now you can see here also the same. Okay, it gives me a JavaScript code. Now that JavaScript code I'm going to execute with the help of Node. CLS example2.js, I can say. Now you can see customer ID 101, customer name is Srikanth, and customer balance is 12,000. And here you can see we have the total cart value. Maybe I can write for your understanding purpose. Cart value is, I'm concatenating with the total over here. And the time when you do that modification, guys, please do compile it once. And once the compilation is done, then execute. And then it will show you that output in a proper way. Clear na? Clear? Right. And I'm going to explain you something different with respect to the string here, and then we'll wind up the today's session. I'll open for question and answer. Okay? I'll open for QA, and first we will understand. Now, when it comes to the TypeScript, as I told you, to declare a string, we have three ways. Hope you remember. To declare the string, we have three ways. One is going to be by using the double quotation. Another one is going to be by using the single quotation also. That means wherever you people are having double quotation, you people may use the single quotation. Right? I use a single quotation. Here also I'll be using the single quotation. And here also I'll go with the single quotation. Single quotation. That's it. Now you can see we use the single quotation. Even though I use the single quotation, if you can compile and then execute, same output. We don't have any difference over here. Now the third one, as I told you in the last session, because most of the people, they're asking me a question, Srikanth, why you follow the backtick syntax? Is it that much important? Yes, it is important, because you see, I'm having like, the three variable, and I'm displaying three variables data, so that before the variable and after the variable, I used a plus sign. And after that, in the middle, I open it and I closed it. I open, I close, I open, I close, like that I did. Understand? I have done like, many times like that. But in practical, if I am having, let's say, 100 members, let's say I have 50 to 60 variables if I am having, just assume that I have 50 to 60 variables if I am having. If that is a case, just assume that if that is a case, how many times I need to open, like, the double quotation, how many times I supposed to close the double quotation? Tell me. Yes, sir. Is it a difficult task for me? If it is 20 variable, 20 into 2, 40, and plus 40 times I supposed to use the plus sign. So that is the reason what I can do. They introduce the backtick syntax. So how we can make use of it? I am using let string is equal to, I use the backtick syntax here. I use the backtick syntax, and then you supposed to write all the things there only. Now I am using customer ID. Understand? I am using what? Customer ID here, and inside that customer ID, I am using a dollar and open and close it. You can see I'm not breaking anything. I'm not going to use any single quotation or double quotation. I'm not breaking, like, this string even. Just what I'm doing, I'm using a dollar and I'm using the parentheses, and inside that I can go with the variable this dot customer ID. This dot customer ID, comma, and again we have what? And the next one, we have the customer name. So how we can do that? Customer name. How I can use it? Again, I'll be going with the dollar. This dot customer name I can say. Understand? This dot customer name. And finally, customer balance is. I'll be using a dollar, and here it is what we call it. You can use this dot customer balance. That's it. And I'm writing like this, and finally I'm going to return the value. That's it. Now, even though for this case we have the same output, compile it first of all. I'm sorry. Compile it first of all, and then execute. Now you can see we have, like, the same output, nothing different. Now this one, what we call it as interpolation syntax. Interpolation syntax in TypeScript. This is the new syntax that we are having when it comes to the TypeScript. Understand? This is the new syntax. What is the new syntax? It is an interpolation syntax that we are having. It is an interpolation syntax. How we can do that? We use the backticks. And this one you can find it in below that escape button. We have that escape button is there. Below that escape button you can find it over. Understand? Below that you have that particular. Okay. So this is how we define a class, and we define the member, and we write a function, and we write a method, and creating an object, and calling that object, calling with that object, like, the members and everything. So this is all about the very basic programming of what? TypeScript, with the help of object-oriented programming. With the help of object-oriented programming, this is the very basic example. Right. Now it's time for you for the question and answer. Okay. Please ask me if you have any question. But before that, listen for 2 minutes. Any technical related question you just ask me. Any non-technical related question, Pawan will answer you. Okay, he is going to be our admin. Non-technical means, sir, what about the videos? Okay, what about the Google Classroom? Once if they created a Google Classroom, I'll upload each and everything. Okay, that is where like I'm working. You don't need to worry about anything. Okay, you don't need to worry about anything. That is my responsibility to upload each and everything that I am discussing in front of the session. In the session, whatever like I have explained to you, I'm going to upload each and every point. You don't need to worry about it. But before that, don't waste your time to be in a confusion state. If you really understand the subject well, and if you feel that this is good, just you can complete that. The particular detail, there are like couple of formalities are there, right? You can complete that, and you can just be ready with the link. So that once if they are giving the link, then definitely I will be explaining. Sudhamani, we will see that anyhow in the Angular. I will explain you that. You can watch the videos. What is the advantage? The advantage here you see I am not using plus many times, right? I use directly the dollar and then this one. Do remember any web technology you can take, all the Java programs are having the main method, tell me. Without having main method also, if it is a web, we are able to run that application. Can we write? Yes, Anish, you can write it over there. So normally method also return the data type. Method is having void as the return type. I had not created JavaScript. So can we use the JavaScript Visual Studio Code in place of JS? Yes, we can use it. Yes, we can use it, right? Yes, we can use it. Then there we not need to. So it is important. Sir, while executing, I'm facing a problem. I don't think so. Like there would be one is better and one is not better. React and Angular both are good according to my knowledge and my experience, because I'm working in both. I have an experience with React. I'm having work experience with Angular. Both, according to me, both are equal importance. Sir, how many IDs support Angular 15 rather than anywhere you can write? It doesn't matter. But Visual Studio Code will offers you many features for us. That is only the reason I asked you to practice with that one. It's okay, Harshit. See, anything if you start very beginning days, it would be confusion. Once you start practice, then it will give you more clarity. You don't need to worry about that. Practice is very important. Still, like as they haven't created the classroom in Google Classroom, so this is the problem. Sir, we use HTML and CSS code in TypeScript. No, TypeScript is different. The basics of JavaScript and TypeScript is enough for me. Basics of JavaScript, HTML, CSS, these three are enough. Remaining, that's okay. If you have knowledge, okay. Otherwise, bootstrap and all. Okay. Okay. I'm leaving for the day. So you please do practice whatever we discussed. You please practice so that it would be easy for you. So that's it for the day. Thank you and have a nice day. Role of dollar is used to identify the servers, the variables. Sashi. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Please do practice one more time by watching the video before coming to the session. That's very important, okay?